ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਹਰਜਾਪ ਤੇ ਹਰੇਕ ਮੰਡੇ 7 ਵਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਆਪਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਸਾਡੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੀਆਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਬਾਹਰ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ NRIਆਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਦੇਸ਼ ਦੀਆਂ ਤੇ ਜੋ ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ ਦੇ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਹੈਗੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਅਫੈਕਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ So let's talk with Harjap. To show ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਮੀਗ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਦੀ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰੀਦੀਆਂ ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੋਈ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰੀਦੀ ਹੈ ਕੋਈ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਦੇ ਗੈਸਟ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰੀਦੀ ਹੈ who can give us knowledge and issues that affect ਸਾਡੇ ਗੈਸਟ ਜੋ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਪਾਰਲੀਮੈਂਟ ਨਾਲ ਰਿਲੇਟਡ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ Aksar, you see a lot of MPs and councillors on the show. We've never had someone from the House of Lords, so I'm pretty much honoured, and we can give a huge welcome to Baroness Varma. So, welcome to the show.
Thank you so very much.
Baroness Varma, tell us a little bit, Sanada Sok, what a baroness is. You know, it's title, and it seems a lot daunting, and a lot of people at home will probably think, oh, hold on, baroness, even though what is a baroness?
So, thank you first of all for having me on tonight.
My pleasure.
And a baroness is basically a female lord.
Okay.
So, you know, when you talk about men who are lords, it's very easy to recognise.
Yeah.
But because we've got so few ladies from the Asian community as baronesses, we still have to explain that it is basically a female lord who sits in the House of Lords. And I really am pleased because I was the first woman of Asian origin to sit on the front benches in the history of Parliament.
Wow.
And that really, you know, if you think about
it's an achievement.
21st century, and it took us till the 21st century to get an Asian woman on the front benches.
Why do you think it was so hard, and why do you think someone didn't break through before?
I think as a community we don't really look at politics as something we all should be doing.
No.
It's important though, and because everyday decisions affect all of us. So I've been there for 12 years in the House of Lords. I've been in politics for a very long time, but I really want to see many, many, many more people from our community involved in politics.
And tell us what the House of Lords does for the people sitting at home and the kids sitting at home and they're thinking, right, what does the House of Lords do? Because we're portrayed, often we only get to see a lot of negatives. So we see other people are sleeping in the House of Lords, very elderly gentlemen, no one's there, you know, the media perception of it all. What exactly is the House of Lords?
So the House of Lords actually, first of all, some of that perception is true.
Ah, right.
That it is full of a lot of gentlemen.
Right.
We do have a lot of elderly people in the House of Lords, but that's reflective of the fact you go to the House of Lords, you're appointed. So you're not elected, but you're appointed. And people tend to be appointed when they've done things in life.
When they've achieved stuff.
So they've achieved something. So that it's not a start of a career. It's usually what you've done in your career. Although, to be quite frank, in recent appointments, we have had some quite younger people come in. People in their late and early 40s, but still predominantly it's very white, it's very male, and it's very sort of senior aged. So there is a lot of changes that need to happen. However, it's upper house in India, in the Rajya Sabha.
Right, okay.
We look at the legislation, we scrutinise it. We make sure that legislation coming from the House of Commons is looked at word by word, line by line. Often in the House of Commons, as you know, legislation is guillotined. It's cut short because of time.
Yeah.
We have no time limits in the House of Lords. Sometimes we can debate a piece, one amendment for several hours.
Right.
But that's to give comfort to the people of the country that somebody is looking at the detail.
So it's almost like you're going over everything with a fine tooth comb.
Absolutely.
So that's the purpose. And when you say you're not elected, what sort of merits does one need to be appointed then? So do they just appoint anyone, or do they look? Does it have to be former politicians, or how is it appointed?
No. And that's the great thing about the House of Lords. We have people from a wide-ranging scope of backgrounds. The House has no majority. There is no one party that has a majority in the House of Lords.
Okay. So it's not like Labour de jada ya Tories de jada.
No.
Okay.
However, because there's no majority, we have to win consensus. So we don't have this sort of silly debate that is in the House of Commons sometimes, because there the debate has, in recent days particularly, I think the debate has become rather flippant and toxic. But in the House of Lords, we don't have that, because we have to fight for consensus.
Are you under any pressure, just like MPs are, to do what the leaders tell them to do, or do what the whips tell them to do?
Yeah, there is a whip.
Yeah.
There's always a whip.
Right.
But
you used to be a whip yourself.
I used to be a whip, so I know the pressures of being a whip.
Almost like a lumbardarni and telling everyone, look, this is how you've got to vote, right?
But there is very little you can do to people who are experts in their own fields.
Right.
And if they have decided, doesn't matter what the amendment is, if they have decided that they won't support the government or the party, they vote against. Right. And the Brexit debate has shown that.
Do you have the freedom to do what you want and to say what you want? Or do you feel that if you're tied to a party, then that's sort of restricted?
So the thing is, politics is about collective beliefs.
Yeah.
So when you join a particular party, it's because of collective beliefs. However, in the House of Commons, you know that the whipping system is very different.
Yeah.
In the House of Lords, although it is there are very few sanctions that you can put onto a peer if they vote against their party.
Right, okay.
Because the appointment is for life.
So they're not in threat of losing a seat, or
there's no threat of us being removed.
Or ever being re-elected again, okay.
Yeah. But you asked the question about how do you get there?
Yeah.
Is it a political appointment always? No. We have around 200 independent peers.
Right, okay.
People who have been nominated because of the field of work. Or that, I mean, they have no political affiliation whatsoever. So we do get people that have come from a great background of expertise, and they come to the House of Lords, and somebody's nominated them from the public. And then they get scrutinised, and if they pass all the scrutiny, then the Prime Minister of the day appoints them with the blessings of the Queen.
When the House of Commons doesn't have a control on something, like we're seeing in current circumstances, can't you, as seniors and people who are experienced and older, a lot of the MPs, can't you just sit them down and say, well, hold on, we're going to take charge, or let's have some sensible debate here, and this is getting out of control? I mean, isn't that your function?
So our function isn't ever to challenge the House of Commons. They are elected by the British public.
Right.
So our job is to actually look at the legislation they pass through. And to be quite frank, I have seen some really bad pieces of legislation come through to the House of Lords. We work hard to ensure that we send it back better.
Right.
But it'll always be the case that, you know, we aren't there to frustrate the elected House.
We're there to help them.
We're there to help them.
Right, in respect.
Yeah.
So when you're at the House of Lords, it seems that you're at top of the political tree. So tell us why, from that, you would want to become a mayor, because you're standing to become mayor of Leicester. Why would you do that? When people say, well, hold on, if you're a lord, the mayor to bada hunda hai. So aren't you, in fact, in the public eye, seeing is right, you're coming back to grassroots, or isn't it a step down for you?
And that's a question that I've been asked a lot.
Yeah, I can imagine, because that's just a natural thought.
I mean, you know, given I've been a minister, given I've been in office, I mean, I'm chair of the External Affairs Committee now.
Yeah.
But for me, my city is really important. I mean, I grew up in Leicester. It's been the city that shaped me. My grandfather was there from the 1930s.
Right.
My father came in 1960.
Okay.
I went to school there. Everything I know and everything I am today has been because I've lived in Leicester. So when I see a city actually going from being one of the richest, most exciting cities in Europe to now being one of the least thriving, it really does make me very, very upset. I want the children that are growing up in Leicester to believe that they have a great future, that they've got ambition and aspiration, and that those things can be all found in Leicester. But if nobody wants to invest there, if nobody brings the sort of jobs that we want our children to do, if nobody makes our streets safer, if nobody looks at the communities and how we actually work with the communities, then I had no choice. I had young people come knocking on my door and saying, our parents have worked so hard so we could get a good education, go to university, and now we're having to leave Leicester because we can't find a job to fit the qualification. That's heartbreaking. And, you know, then I've had so many people, after I've sort of sounded people out saying, please, Baroness Varma, please would you stand? Give us a chance to have an alternative view in the city.
With Leicester, do you not think it's a case of people are attached to one party, and you know, because one party does seem to be dominant over there, they've got a huge majority over there, you know, and the MP's been voted there for a long time, despite courting controversy, let's just say, on a few occasions, and the current mayor's got a massive majority there at the moment. Do you not think that the Asian community, rather than voting for individuals, we do vote for parties?
I think, from what I've seen and heard, I think people are desperate for a good alternative.
No.
And I think the fact that they recognise me, they know who I am, they know I belong to the city, they know my family has belonged to the city, they know we've always generated jobs in the city, we've been part of the local communities and all the community activities. I think people trust me. I think people wanted somebody who they knew. And I don't honestly think for 1 minute that just because somebody has a big majority that they should take anybody's vote for granted. Because people are angry. They've seen absolutely their communities have just been driven down. No investment has gone into local community activity. Huge amounts of money have been spent on the city centre in a lot of projects that may well make the city centre look pretty, but what are the job generations from it? What is the GDP for the city from it? What are the aspirational jobs that are going to keep people coming to the city? I know, and everybody tells me, oh, it's a one-party state in Leicester. No, don't underestimate the people. Don't underestimate their desperation and frustration, because the people of Leicester they will walk with their feet. They will vote. They will vote for what they want. And I'm constantly being told by Labour people, oh, you've not got any chance. You know, it's a given in Leicester. No, don't take our vote for granted. You need to work for the vote.
No, I think that's up to the public to decide
yes.
who's going to vote in.
Don't ever think that just because you've had it easy so far, that is always going to be the case. People are responsible for their own votes, so don't try and think that they're just going to automatically give it to you.
When I've gone to Leicester, and I've gone to Leicester quite a bit, I've always been amazed at how diverse it is, and I come from areas where even in Asian communities people keep themselves to themselves. So, you know, Sikhs are very much in one area, the Muslims are very much in one area, the Christians are very much in one area, Pakistanis and Indians are very much divided. But in Leicester that doesn't seem to happen. It's everyone, when you go to Melton Road, it's, you know, it's like a pot of cultural activity. You can have Hindus, Sikhs, Muslims, Christians, you know, from Asian background, all in a row, in a row of about 5-6 shops. And I always find that, you know, sort of like, it's an achievement in itself for Leicester. And I'm quite surprised that one thing I did see was a lot of factories were shut down, vacant. You know, there was big migrant areas, but a lot of the migrants never had any jobs. And I did see that the areas which were perhaps let's say, in the neighbourhoods, they hadn't progressed since the 10 years that I've been there. Or a lot of people were complaining that Leicester company there, like, you know, like, so it wasn't like it was 20 years ago or 30 years ago with the textile factories and the engineering. And then I thought, is that just a general trend? Or is that just Leicester? Because if you look at industry everywhere, it seems to be declining, and especially in towns, well, in cities, let's say outside of London. The more north you go, where you look at places like Newcastle, Sunderland, and even Birmingham, which were hubs at one point for foundries. Is that because the industry is not being built here and it's going elsewhere, or is it because the world is changing and we're no longer reliant on these industries anymore?
So there are 2 or 3 points. The first point I'd say is, yes, we were the hub of textiles, engineering, shoes, biscuits.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, all of those great things came from Leicester or Leicestershire. Yeah, exactly. And they created lots and lots of jobs, and people were able to socially be mobile upwards. And we have lost a lot of those jobs. I would still say to you, though, we still have many thousands of jobs in the textiles industry in Leicester. The problem is nobody stands up for those people. Nobody says, how do we support people who are trying to manufacture in UK, in the city, in the heart of the UK? You know, we talk about cars, jobs in the car sector being lost because of Brexit, all of these pressures. We talk about all the other jobs, but it seems for some sad reason that those who are working in the textiles industry in Leicester just get bypassed. The other thing is, of course, and it's important, that, you know, we haven't moved with the times, because if you've had, and it's the point you made earlier, there is just one political view, and that political view has not understood investment, it's not understood how do you develop business, how do you support business, how do you give small individual independent companies the sort of ambition to be able to drive economic growth in the city. I mean, we've got the Space Centre. Why haven't we made much more of that phenomenal thing, the Space Centre? Sadly, it's a loss maker. Why? Because the children who should go and visit it can't afford the ticket. You know, I mean, how sad is that? That our children of Leicester cannot afford to go and visit the Space Centre. So we can do lots if we want to. It's really about how do we have a real new vision for our city. And I come from a business background. I have done business since the age of 19. I come from a family that has done business for decades. My grandfather was the first Indian in Leicester to open up a factory in textiles. So we know how to generate jobs and business. And I think sometimes you need to put those experiences into local government. And of course I know politics. And I also know how to bring communities together. And I'm really proud that I'm from a city that even yesterday there was a vigil at one of the mosques in the heart of the city where every single community was there standing shoulder to shoulder with our brothers and sisters who were murdered by a terrorist in New Zealand.
We have to go for a break. When we come back from the break, we'll discuss this further. We'll discuss what being a mayor is and a mayor's responsibility. We'll discuss how it is to be an ethnic minority figure in the government and the hardships faced. But ਇਹ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਹੋ ਗਈਆਂ break ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ. ਬਾਹਰ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ NRIਆਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਦੇਸ਼ ਦੀਆਂ ਤੇ ਜੋ ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ ਦੇ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਹੈਗੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਅਫੈਕਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ. So let's talk with Harjap.
Tired of always running out of data? Don't worry, we've got you covered. With Leica Mobile's UK Plan Ultra, you get a phone-busting 15 gigabytes of data, unlimited UK minutes and texts, and 100 international minutes for just £12 for 30 days. That's a limited time offer of over 50% off when bought online with a new SIM order. That's big data and big value. Visit leicamobile.co.uk today to see the full offer. Terms and conditions apply.
हजारों लोग हर रोज सुबह से रात तक कभी न कभी एमए टीवी जरूर देखते हैं. They might be your future customers, but you have to tell them about your products and services. Let's grow your business with MA TV. Advertise, promote and market your product and services on MA TV. Call MA TV Sales on 07970 337036 or 0208 795 0026.
स्कूल जाना तो एक सपना था, रोज देखता उस खाने वाली गाड़ी को, सबको बढ़िया खाना, खुशी होती थी देखकर. फिर वो दिन आया जब मैं भी गया स्कूल, लगा कि सपने देखने की ताकत मिल गई हो. अरे पेट भरा हो तो पूरा ध्यान पढ़ाई में रहेगा ना. प्रार्थना करता हूँ कि वो खाने वाली गाड़ी हमेशा स्कूल आती रहे. थैंक यू अक्षय पात्र.
आइए हाथ बटाइए ताकि भारत में 16 लाख से भी ज्यादा बच्चों को स्कूल में पौष्टिक खाना मिलता रहे.
This is a report from Save the Children. These scenes at Chiamala Hospital in Central Africa may look like an emergency, but we see this throughout the world every single day. Among the new arrivals, we found Kayembe. So frail he can no longer stand, Kayembe is almost 2 years old, but his weight is less than half that of a healthy child his age.
5 cas graves de malnutrition.
Kayembe needs food, and he needs medicine urgently. These are the basic things that you can help us provide by calling the number on your screen now and giving just £2 a month. Save the Children know what it takes to save a child's life, but we need your help. Because tomorrow, we'll see more children arrive, and the next day.
S'il n'y a pas assez de nourriture à donner aux enfants, les enfants vont mourir.
Please pick up the phone now. Call 0800 035 6365 or visit our website and give your £2 a month. For a child as critically ill as Kayembe, a single phone call can make the difference.
हेस्टन हाइड वेस्ट लंदन के सबसे शानदार होटल्स में से एक, with 303 air conditioned rooms and suites, one of the largest banquet spaces in London, meeting room for up to 1200 people, conferences, musical function, weddings या कोई भी गैदरिंग. मनपसंद भोजन, शानदार आयोजन और बेहतरीन वेन्यू, 400 गाड़ियों की पार्किंग के साथ. हेस्टन हाइड. फॉर बुकिंग्स कॉल 0208 572 1818.
मेरे प्यारे चौड़ा हम लगा दीजिए.
लगा दीजिए.
की दवा दीजिए मेरे प्यारे, थोड़ा सा मुस्कुरा दीजिए मेरे प्यारे,
थोड़ा सा मुस्कुरा दीजिए.
बाहर रहंदे NRIਆਂ ਦੀਆਂ, ਸਾਡੇ ਦੇਸ਼ ਦੀਆਂ, ਤੇ ਜੋ ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ ਦੇ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਹੈਗੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਅਫੈਕਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ. So let's talk with Harjap. Baroness Varma ji now, who's in the House of Lords. We're very proud of her for that. One of the few Asian women to be in the House of Lords. Are there any other Asian women?
Yeah, there are just a handful.
Probably about 4 or 5.
It's very small. I mean, really very, very small numbers.
One thing I've seen is a lot of, say, members of parliament, a lot of lords who are from the ethnic minorities, they get a lot of abuse on Twitter, and I say far less than maybe what their white compatriots would get. People like Sadiq Khan, Diane Abbott, they get a lot of abuse. Does that just come with the territory? Is that to be expected? And surely, how does that make a politician feel? Because, you know, you're in parliament, you're trying to serve the public, and then you just get a lot of racial abuse. Let's just not call it abuse, let's call it for what it is, it's a racial abuse. I mean, how does that make one feel? And have you ever had to face that in the past? I mean, you must have done in your early days, or perhaps even now you get that. And how do you deal with that?
Yeah, it's hard. First of all, let me say any form of abuse is wrong.
Yeah.
Especially when the perpetrators think that social media is therefore there, that they can take license to say and do whatever they want.
Yeah, they hide behind masks.
They hide behind it. And I'm hoping that we're going to do a lot more to call companies out.
Right.
You know, the IT companies have got a lot of answering to do here.
Yeah, they do.
But you're right. I mean, I know lots of colleagues who are white and have had huge amounts of abuse. Then you double that when you're getting racist abuse on top. So it's not a nice place. However, we do come into politics knowing, as public figures, there are going to be people who believe that they can say what they want, that is not going to upset and hurt us, that we seem to be some different type of human being. I would like your audience to know that we do read those tweets. They are hurtful. But you know, if you take cover behind a social media platform, you're the coward. If you have that strong a view, why don't you come out in the open and say it?
Come out and say it.
And,
show your face.
really being abusive because of somebody's race. I mean, come on, we're in the 21st century.
It does seem as though the world is heading that way once again. I mean, there's a lot of incidents, there's a lot of anti-immigrant feeling. You know, we could even say Brexit might be born out of that. You know, it just seems to be not just in Britain, but worldwide. I think across Europe, in the USA, there just seems to be a lot of hatred flowing about there, a lot of vile words flowing about there for people based on their religion, ethnicity, background. You know, how do we combat that as a whole country? How do we all come together?
So that's really critical. How do we come together? Do you know, when I was growing up, and I was actually talking about this the other day at an international women's event at the Swami Narayan Temple in Leicester, where it was a beautiful gathering, all sorts of backgrounds there. Yeah. And in the 60s and 70s, when we were combating it, we thought we'd put it to bed.
Right.
But we haven't. And you're right, across Europe, across the Western world in particular, the populism debate has really now taken a different shape. Have we allowed it to happen? Part of the problem is our communities need to be better engaged politically. No. They need to be better engaged with civic sense. They can shape what happens to the city and the country they live in. But we often think it's somebody else's job. And I'm frightened. When the Brexit debate, the referendum result happened, the next day, the sort of abuse that was suddenly let out by people who felt they had license to do so. And we must blame some of that on politicians, because politicians are the public figure of political debate in this country or in any country. If those politicians ignore the needs of the people, regardless of what race they are, then that vented anger is going to come out at some point. And what we found was the referendum result was the vented anger of decades of politicians of all parties ignoring real people's real issues. Secondly, I think we have never ever had a proper, honest debate about the benefits of immigration in this country. We talk about Europe in a negative way. We talk about the EU in a negative way. We talk about immigrants as if they're overtaking the country in a negative way. And yet this country would come to a complete standstill if for one day all people of immigrant background stopped work.
It would never rebuild itself after the Second World War.
Exactly.
When our parents were invited over, called over.
So we've got to take some ownership that instead of allowing a debate on negativity about our contribution, let's talk about the positive things that have happened because we've been here. And okay, there is always some, something more we can do.
Yeah.
We need to be much more a part of the wider community. Yeah. And I say that to all communities. Be part of the wider community. Doesn't stop you from respecting your own cultural roots. I was only 9 months when I came to this country. I've never stopped loving where I came from. Yeah. I love the beauty of our family values. I love the beauty of our food and our music. Well, come on. It's something that even the West is embraced.
Yeah.
So let's be proud of the fact we've got some strong things that we can give to community. And therefore, let's not be inward looking. Let's be outward looking. And I come back to the vigil yesterday. That was a vigil of all our communities in Leicester, from the Jewish community to the Baha'i community. Every single one was there. And we did it because we were citizens of Leicester. It was our city. And therefore, we must fight together. Discrimination still is rampant because good people keep quiet.
Coming to the mayoral election, which you're standing for, what exactly does a mayor do? Because a lot of people think, right, a mayor is the boss of the city and you control everything that goes on in the city. Is that going to be correct? Are you going to be the boss of the city?
So the elected mayor, the city mayor, basically is the person who takes decisions for the city and for the people of the city. And so, yes, it's a really important role. And it's a role with huge responsibility. And therefore, I mean, we mustn't be dismissive that it's only a mayor. Because the checkbook, the budgets, the decisions that the city will take are with the mayor and the local councillors. Now, that's why we need a good set of councillors. Because if you're going to have a prosperous city, you've got to have somebody who knows what the city needs, and the people of the city need to be able to be part of the debate of what they want to see for the city.
Does that include everything from policing to housing to hospital? Would you have a say on all of that if you were elected mayor?
So the policing is an issue for the police crime commissioner.
Right.
But they work very closely, of course they do, with the mayor.
Okay.
Because, drugs, crime, knife crimes.
Yeah, knife crime is
all of these are
thing.
issues that we have to work very closely together on. Housing, of course. Healthcare, provision of schools, school places, the transport systems. All of leisure activities, all of these things that used to once be held by the chief executive are now the mayoral responsibility. So it's important that those decisions are well thought out. And where is our city going? Where do we want to see our position in the country?
So, like you said, it's a big
role.
Huge position. And why do you think that you would be suitable for this position? Why do you think that you're the person, in fact, to engage with the people of Leicester really well? When some would say that, hold on, that you're now in the House of Lords and you're based in London now, and you don't live in Leicester, or I don't know if you do live in Leicester anymore.
I do.
Right. So, but someone would say that. So why would you think then that you're the person for Leicester?
Well, first of all, I always come home to Leicester.
All right.
I mean, Monday to Thursday, I'm in Parliament.
Okay.
And then Thursday afternoon, I come home.
So you don't live in London?
No, I have a place in London.
Right, okay.
But my home
is in Leicester.
Okay. It's always going to be Leicester. Okay. So you'll see me walking. I love walking, so you'll see me and my husband walking along London Road to Victoria Park. We do our round, and it's my home.
Right.
So why do I want to do it? Why do I feel I can do it? I have the understanding of the city.
Right.
I know, because I'm there, what the city needs. And to be quite frank, business experience is there. Management of big projects is there. The fact that I've been in Parliament, I am in Parliament, allows me to understand how politics impacts and affects decisions. So I think I can do a pretty good job. You know, I don't underestimate the task ahead. The city has been let down for a very long time, and the city has got a lot of things it needs to be that needs to be put right. And therefore, it's not going to be an easy job. And I know the people of Leicester will understand that. But it also understands that for the first time, the person who was shaped by the city, who was there I celebrated my first birthday there. So, you know, this is my home. My brothers live there, my sister lives, my mum, you know, our family is there. So I want to do something that actually benefits not just them, but the whole of Leicester.
In your Leicester Council, what's the demographics? What is the makeup of, say, from what religions and from what backgrounds are people there? Because, you know, in a lot of councils I've seen, it's always a certain group, or very rarely, and a lot of people then don't get on, and then you have a lot of conflict. But I think Leicester's a little bit different in that respect. You have people from every sort of faith and every sort of background there, right?
Well, I mean, I must say that I am so pleased that the council candidates because you're right. I mean, we've 54 councillors out of 54, 52 are Labour. One is a Conservative, one is a Lib Dem. Right. So it's that is how, you know, it's not a choice.
Yeah, it's pretty much one-sided.
It's a very one-sided choice. So for me, I am just thrilled that the people who've joined to be candidates for me for this next for the next local elections, they come from so many backgrounds, from the Bangladeshi community, the Pakistani community, the Indian community, the Turkish community, the Somali community.
Wow.
You know, I mean, it's just wonderful to see such an array of people who've joined on from of course, their own Leicester English community too. And then we've actually got a great quota, a great group of female candidates, also part of this great group collection of people. So I think for me personally, it's just a brilliant reflection of the city. The Labour Party, I think, haven't reached out as much. I'm sad to say there isn't enough of a reflection, but we should never dismiss any community in our groupings, in our city, because every community has something that they're offering. And we have new communities joining us all the time. You know, we've got a strong Polish community in Leicester. So I would hope the next time that we'll have somebody from the Polish community standing.
What sort of response have you had? Like I said, what response have you had from other communities? Obviously, your own community will back you. I mean, it's pretty much a given that, and we've seen that in politics, that the community does seem to back their candidate. But what about other communities? What sort of response have you had?
Well, just by looking at my candidates, you can see that communities are coming forward. The council candidates come from so many different backgrounds. I think, really, they believe that the person who's taken the charge of this competition, this challenge this time, is really going to bring all communities together. I think our strength of the city is our communities. And I'm hoping that, you know, you said it's a given. I don't take that.
Right.
I honestly don't take that. I think I will have to work as hard to get the votes from my own community as I will from every other community. Because the one thing I know from past experiences, do not take the voter for granted. They see somebody who will stand up for them. They see somebody who will fight for them. But they see somebody who needs to also make sure that they get the respect for them. And I think that's the key here. Whereas I'm afraid the incumbents that we have in Leicester just take it for granted. Oh, they'll vote for us. They come from our community. They'll vote for us. I don't think politics is about that anymore.
Yeah, I'm always a bit dumbfounded by the fact that during the Asians that I've seen and the Asian background that we know of, the Asians are very conservative with a small c, but when it comes to voting...
That's a fault of political parties too.
Yeah.
I will be the first one to say my party has not worked hard enough
to reach out.
And it was actually Theresa May and William Hague, and then after William, Ian Duncan Smith, and then after Ian, David. That was the group of people that I worked with to ensure that we understood that if we want to represent the country with all its great diversity, we needed to be able to reach out. So I think a lot of it is to do with our own failings. However, I'm afraid every single political party has an issue with racism.
Wow, that's a big statement.
Every single party has an issue with racism. And I'm sad to say that, you know, we turn a blind eye to it because it may not directly impact on us.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, but if there had been better representation because there was a belief there was no racism in some other parties, then we would have had a bigger, better reflection of our communities a long time ago.
Wow.
So racism is there.
Racism is definitely
and we need to
there.
root it out.
We're going to go to a break, and after the break we're going to be talking more about these issues. We're also going to be talking about advice for youngsters or people at home, especially our females who want to get involved into politics. But ਉਹ ਸਾਰੀ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ।
ਬਾਹਰ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ NRIਆਂ ਦੀਆਂ, ਸਾਡੇ ਦੇਸ਼ ਦੀਆਂ ਤੇ ਜੋ ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ ਦੇ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਹੈਗੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਅਫੈਕਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ। So let's talk with Harjap.
Tired of always running out of data? Don't worry, we've got you covered. With Leica Mobile's UK Plan Ultra, you get a phone-busting 15 gigabytes of data, unlimited UK minutes and texts, and 100 international minutes for just £12 for 30 days. That's a limited-time offer of over 50% off when bought online with a new SIM order. That's big data and big value. Visit leicamobile.co.uk today to see the full offer. Terms and conditions apply.
हजारों लोग हर रोज सुबह से रात तक कभी न कभी एमए टीवी जरूर देखते हैं। They might be your future customers, but you have to tell them about your products and services. Let's grow your business with MA TV. Advertise, promote and market your product and services on MA TV. Call MA TV Sales on 07970 337036 or 0208 795 0026.
स्कूल जाना तो एक सपना था, रोज देखता उस खाने वाली गाड़ी को, सबको बढ़िया खाना, खुशी होती थी देखकर। फिर वो दिन आया जब मैं भी गया स्कूल, लगा कि सपने देखने की ताकत मिल गई हो। अरे पेट भरा हो तो पूरा ध्यान पढ़ाई में रहेगा ना। प्रार्थना करता हूँ कि वो खाने वाली गाड़ी हमेशा स्कूल आती रहे। थैंक यू अक्षय पात्र।
आइए हाथ बटाइए ताकि भारत में 16 लाख से भी ज्यादा बच्चों को स्कूल में पौष्टिक खाना मिलता रहे।
हेस्टन हाइड वेस्ट लंदन के सबसे शानदार होटल्स में से एक, with 303 air conditioned rooms and suites, one of the largest banquet spaces in London, meeting room for up to 1200 people, conferences, musical function, weddings या कोई भी गैदरिंग। मनपसंद भोजन, शानदार आयोजन और बेहतरीन वेन्यू, 400 गाड़ियों की पार्किंग के साथ। हेस्टन हाइड। फॉर बुकिंग्स कॉल 0208 572 1818।
जगमगाने और मुझको दिए मेरे प्यारे, चौड़ा मरहम लगा दीजिए। तोड़ा मरहम लगा दीजिए। दर्द की दवा दीजिए मेरे प्यारे, थोड़ा सा मुस्कुरा दीजिए मेरे प्यारे थोड़ा सा मुस्कुरा दीजिए
बाहर रहंदे NRIਆਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਦੇਸ਼ ਦੀਆਂ ਤੇ ਜੋ ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ ਦੇ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਹੈਗੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਅਫੈਕਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ So let's talk with Harjap.
ਚਲਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੱਲ ਸਾਡੀ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਜੀ Baroness ਸੰਦੀਪ ਵਰਮਾ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੋ ਕਿ is the mayor candidate for Leicester in the upcoming elections which I believe are in May. So obviously good luck to her. We're hearing her views and very much a Leicester person. I think very much a Leicester person. Leicester's ਜੰਮੇ ਪਲੇ ਆ well ਜੰਮੇ ਤਾਂ ਚਲੋ ਇੰਡੀਆ 'ਚ but ਪਲੇ ਪਹਿਲਾ ਬਰਥਡੇ ਮਨਾਇਆ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਲੈਸਟਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ and ਲੈਸਟਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਹਜੇ ਵੀ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ and ਅਕਸਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਹੋਣਾ walking out and about. I always get members of our community, especially new immigrants, and they always say, "Oh, ਤੁਹਾਡਾ MP ਜਾਂਦਾ, ਤੁਹਾਡਾ Lord ਜਾਂਦਾ, why haven't they got a convoy, or why are they walking, or why have they got the train?" And I said, no, it doesn't happen like that right back home. And so a lot of people do get surprised, and then they think, oh, hold on, that Baroness ਤੁਰੀ ਫਿਰਦੀ ਹੈ, you know, where's her car and a convoy and a police escort? But I think we come with that mentality, and we seem to think, right, this is a position right at the top, but we're not really, and it's a lot of job that are involved, but we're not really understanding that in this country it's a position of accountability, right? So the public expects you to fulfill your role.
Public servant.
Yeah, and it literally in this country it is, you are a public servant, whereas of course in other countries you might not be. You've probably got servants of your own, and there's usually members of the public. So when we're talking about how hard it is to get into these roles, it takes a lot of bravery, takes a lot of courage to get to do it, and I think it takes a lot of empowerment. So I see yourself as someone who's empowered, and you're empowered, but perhaps I look at someone as my mother and I think, well, she could never do that or have done that, because there's still plenty of Asian women who came here 40, 50 years ago and they can't even speak English. They haven't empowered themselves. They've got mentality, they've drummed it into their head. All you lot are good to do is to make chapati, just sit at home and have kids, and to see Barney Yana, and you're looking after the kids, and that is, they see their role as that. And for that's a great tragedy about our community, that we're not willing to break these barriers and enter these fields. What advice would you have for people who want to enter this field from the Asian background? What advice would you do, especially women out there who are thinking, can I be like Baroness Sandeep Varma? Can I go out there and, you know, do this stuff, and have I got the capability? What do you say to them?
So, you know, that's such an interesting point, because I do see so many women, and when I was the global champion for David Cameron for women across the world, one of the things I found was that suppressed ambition. You know, the fact that women were trying to fulfill their dreams through their children.
Right.
And it's sad, because we're all gifted one life. All of us are here for one time only. And, you know, whatever our mother's strengths or weaknesses are, actually think about what they manage. They manage budget at home.
Yeah.
They manage catering.
Yeah.
They manage so many domestic chores and have to provide them in a timely manner. And all of those things are strengths. And those strengths can be lifted and put into anything else. So I always say, even if you don't want to be a politician, school governor, you know, get yourself into some sort of community activity. It gives you the confidence. It really engages you with other people to know about you and your community. But I really want more people to come into public life. I really, really believe the potential of the country is when the potential of the people are being used at its maximum. And so, you know, I mentor young people wanting to come into politics. I want to see many, many more people from our communities in both local government and national government. Because if we don't have those representations, first of all, our own individual cultural needs will never be recognised and met. But also, how do you make people understand what your values are, what you bring to the table are? And the debate we're having today will continue. The toxic debate that, you know, these people are outsiders.
They don't integrate.
They don't integrate.
Yeah.
They don't mix.
They just sit in their own communities in Birmingham and Southall, and that's
and
it.
so why should we have that? Why should we? I mean, I often get frustrated when I'm told, well, you need to demonstrate your British values. What do you mean by why do I need to demonstrate my British? I live here. I contribute here. I am part of the fabric of this country. Why do I need to demonstrate that?
But do you think recent events, especially in relation to, I would say, Shamima, a lot of Asians did feel that, hold on, why do we have to try harder? Why are we seen as second-class citizens? Do you think that there's a fear of that coming around again? Do you think we are viewed as second-class citizens and we've had to work harder to earn our British citizenship than, say, someone? I get people asking me all the time saying, well, someone who's born here might be a criminal and might, you know, be a drain on a benefit system for 40, 50 years, the whole duration of their life. Their 3 generations might be a burden on the state and they might all be criminals. Why are they seen as more British than someone who's come over, say, 20 years ago and had to settle and work their way through the visa system and then learn the languages now and become British? And yet, why are we still seen as foreigners and outsiders and less British?
But put those people on one side for a moment and just think of all our children who have been born here. Think of all the people who have been born here. I mean, why are they having to still demonstrate that they are British? Because they are. They've been born here. They, you know, okay, I was 9 months when I came here. Maybe I'm still an immigrant. But the point is very simple. Our children who have been born here, why should they feel they've got to be 10 times better or more times better than somebody else to get the same job? And to be quite frank, this is where I really do worry. We talk about gender pay gaps. Do you know about the race pay gaps? The same jobs in the same public sector. And I'll talk about my own city, Leicester. In the Leicester City public sector, 10.37% paid lower if you are not white.
Wow.
Now, why should that be okay?
Even though you're doing the same job?
If you're doing the same job. Why aren't we, all of us, saying this is absolutely unacceptable?
Well, you are, from what I understand.
Yes,
because
I am, and I will
I
keep
read
saying
something
it.
about it today where you were, in fact, pointing this out and you're saying, well, hold on, this is totally unacceptable.
I have said for a very long time, the same focus needs to go on race disparity as gender disparity. Because if you think about it in the round, if you're a woman and you're of colour, you're going to be double whammied.
Yeah, you literally are going to be tag teamed.
So let's start challenging and asking the question, what, you know, the problem for us is we always fear that if we speak out, we're going to be the person who's going to lose out. And sometimes maybe it's a sacrifice we have to make. But guess what? All the other people who will benefit from it, well, thank you for it. You know, we have to take some responsibilities.
I'm talking about myself, but I'm really interested to know whether you experience the same thing or not. When you came here and as a child you were growing up, did your parents ever express their worries about you? You know what, we need to keep our links back home because we might get kicked out. I mean, that, you know, I still sometimes hear it now, especially with the Brexit rhetoric that comes out. And I'm like, Mum, it's okay, we're born here now. They can't get rid of us. They can't kick us out. Oh no, you don't know. They did that in Africa, and they, you know. Did you grow up with that? And do you think that's the reason why a lot of us think, well, hold on, we'll just take it, and we don't want to upset the thing. You know, we might get thrown out. And do you reckon there's an element of that still there, and that's institutionalized into us somehow?
I think, and I mean, I grew up with parents who told me to stand up to everything.
Right.
You know, I mean, you know, we grew up at a time when there was rampant racism.
Yeah.
And, you know that Leicestershire was the birthplace of the National Front in Hinckley.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So we got it really from a
grassroots level. You got it really bad, right?
And you know, Leicester was an incredibly racist city.
Yeah.
So you can't imagine the Leicester of today to what the Leicester of the past
totally
was.
Changed now, yeah.
However, I think because we fought our way all the way, constantly taking racism head on, we knew something had to be done. My fear is always this. We think somebody else should be fighting the fight because it doesn't directly impact on us.
Right.
And I think we shouldn't hide ourselves in our communities because an attack on one person is attack on all of us. Discrimination doesn't ask you what faith you are.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
It doesn't identify anything. All it identifies is the colour of your skin. And so let me say it over and over again to all the viewers here. If we don't stick together, if we don't call it out, it won't be just us, but the next generation that will have to take this up. It got better because we had discriminatory laws in place. But do people feel safer today?
I don't think they do.
Has Brexit actually unleashed this toxic, poisonous atmosphere where people now are beginning to fear again?
No, it's released a bit. I definitely feel that racists are emboldened.
Yes.
And I feel that, not that they're, all it is that now they feel as if they got their voice back. So it was suppressed and they couldn't say anything, but Brexit has given them a license to bring their voice out. And that, in fact, that they were always there. These people were always there. I don't know whether they were reformed or not, but they've definitely, now they feel, right, we can say this and get away with it due to the fact that the public has sort of stamped it. And
no, it's because politicians' language is toxic. The media language is toxic. I mean, pick up some of those papers and read the rubbish about the way they talk about particular communities.
Yeah.
And in that, we are all grouped. So, and we allow it to be said. Now, if we don't challenge our members of parliament, our local councillors, who are supposed to be, remember, supporting and standing up for our needs and beliefs, then what's the point of them?
And the way I see it, the odd person that does stand up, they get absolutely slaughtered. Yeah. So people like David Lammy, who does stand up and, you know, say it and does take a stand, they get slaughtered.
They do. But I must say, there was one thing I disagreed with him on, and that was that, you know, the white saviour comment that he made about people going to Africa. We want everybody to go out. Where there's poverty, where there's need, we need everybody to go out and raise those issues.
And regardless of who's doing it.
Who's doing it.
Yeah, it's regardless
you know,
of
I mean, you know, we mustn't deter people from doing it. Okay, there may be better ways of doing it.
Yeah.
And I was a DFID minister, so, you know, I looked at how you can best empower communities in those developing countries. Of course, there's always going to be a better way of doing it. But let's not deter people. Because actually the greatness of a human being is the humanity it shows to somebody who doesn't look like them.
Yeah. And
you know, and that's the strength.
If by any way or means you can eradicate poverty, it's never a bad thing.
It isn't. So I don't want us to wear the colour of our skin as something that should bar. Otherwise, what's the difference between us and those who are being racist to us?
Skin colour shouldn't come into it.
But it does. Yeah, it does. And the sad thing is, it carries on coming into it. When poor communities feel they're getting nowhere, they lash out at the thing the people they think are the easiest target.
Baroness Varma, thank you for coming on. We wish you luck in your election.
Thank you.
And it's so good to see someone from the similar backgrounds as we all are, and doing so well and thinking about people on the grassroots level and not just thinking, right, how can I go from a baroness to, you know, royalty, but you're actually thinking, well, hold on, I need to get back into grassroots level, and I'm going to change it in your hometown of Leicester. Do you have any last message for our viewers out there?
I just say being a public servant is a great honour and a privilege. Being the member of the House of Lords has really been a great honour, and I will continue to be a member of the House of Lords.
For life, for what you told us.
For life.
Yeah.
But if I get elected to be Mayor of Leicester, then I will make sure that my time is spent looking after the people that I care very much about.
Wow. And if there's one thing that we can all take home from this is, if you want the system to change, then you've got to become part of that change. You've got to take part, and you've got to actively go out there and change it yourself. Don't wait for others to change it for you, because that might be a long wait and it might not happen. So if you don't like something, go out and change it and be part of the change, be part of that vehicle. It's never easy, but it can be done, and collectively we can all make a difference.
Perfect.
Thank you very much, Baroness Varma. Like I said, we wish you luck. Sade Virano, Sade as haftali. In that topic, he said, we'll see you next week. Koi na koi nawe guest leke, and politics season area, election season area, so we'll probably have a lot more MPs and councillors on. But for that, Sade Varo, Tonu Sade, Sat Sri Akal, Namaste, Salam.